Let's work it. Let's work it.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Season 3 of Work It, a UVic career exploration podcast. This is the show where we speak to some really cool UVic alumni and learn about what they're up to in their careers and all the decisions they've made that have led them to where they are today. We're also consulting with our great team of career educators for guidance on topics like what do I even do with my degree and how do I change career paths if I'm not liking where I'm at. I'm your host, Emma, and at the time of recording here in beautiful British Columbia, the weather has been amazing. It's beautiful, it's sunny, and it's just got me feeling really happy. And I'm coming to you today with good vibes and gratitude. And before we dive into our episode, I would like to acknowledge that we're recording today at the University of Victoria, which is located on the traditional territory of the Lekwungen, Songhees, and Kosapsan peoples. We want to extend our gratitude for being here as uninvited guests and respect the ongoing historical relationships of the Lekwungen and Wasanich peoples with this incredible land. On today's episode, I'm so excited to be speaking with Julie Claveau, a UVic physics and astronomy graduate currently working at the Canadian Space Agency in satellite Earth observation programs. She previously worked as Canada's deputy mission manager for the James Webb Space Telescope mission. She's also an advocate for diversity and inclusion, a blogger, a YouTuber, and World of Warcraft gamer, a violinist, a dancer, a baker, a gardener, and a mom of 3. With a career as diverse as her skills and interests, we are so excited to have you on the line today. Welcome to the show, Julie.
Thanks, Emma. I'm so happy to be here with you today, and hi to everybody who's listening in. Just a quick disclaimer before we get started. I am here in a personal capacity, and I'm representing myself, not the views and opinions of the Government of Canada.
Great. Thank you so much for that. And we might as well blast right off here. This season, we've been talking to some amazing people whose career journeys have winding trajectories all over the world. So I want to talk about your career path because it's definitely been a windy road. Can you tell us a little bit about what your career path looked like and what you've learned?
Absolutely. I have found that a lot of my colleagues and myself have very different career paths. And in the beginning, I thought it had to be linear, but it wasn't. And it's not for a lot of people. When I was doing my undergraduate degree at UVic, I was actually a naval reservist with the Canadian Forces at HMCS Malahat. That was a really great experience. I have good and fond memories of that. And I also worked at McDonald's. I had 2 jobs. And sometimes I did some translation work from English to French because French is my first language. And then when I finished my undergraduate degree, I had no idea what to do. I was looking for jobs for physicists or astronomers. And I quickly realized that there are some, but not a lot. So I started working at Second Cup because I needed to pay for my apartment. I needed to pay for food. I didn't want to stay there forever. So I went to a placement agency. It was called Quantum. And they placed me at Health Canada. And I really liked it. The working conditions were great. I had decent pay. And the people that I worked with were so nice. The team really made it a great place to work. At that point in my life, I needed more stability. So I stayed within the government and eventually did get a permanent job at Transport Canada. And then when I had my last child, I was doing basic administrative work, which was fine for a few years, but eventually it made me realize how much I missed having more intellectual challenges in terms of doing more in-depth and complex problem solving. I did start doing science and math at my lunchtime because I needed to have some sort of an intellectual challenge. Some of my colleagues noticed and they thought I was wild. And they're like, let us help you find a job that is more up to your capacity. And so actually my colleagues at Transport Canada helped me find my job at the Canadian Space Agency. They helped me prep, they pushed me, they empowered me. I like to think that a lot of it is thanks to them. So I applied for a job at the Canadian Space Agency and I've been there since then.
Wow, that is such an amazing story. I love that you had that community backing. They clearly knew you very well and they knew what you would love. So, from what you've told me, You've worked in so many different sectors. You've worked for the federal government, you've worked in the fast food industry, and even in the naval reserves. All these diverse experiences you've had must have impacted your perspective on life. Can you tell us a bit about how you have changed just from doing all of these different things?
I learned that being myself is the greatest thing that you can do. It will help you get to where you're meant to be. It'll make you happy. So being yourself, making friends along the way. In my mind, it's always about people taking care of each other, helping others, and letting others help you. Taking every opportunity that's on your road, no matter how small it may be. I could have been like, oh, I don't want to work at McDonald's, but there are certain skills that I learned and that I was able to use for future job opportunities. I also learned that life is unexpected and it will lead you to exceptional places. Aim for a specific direction, but it may not be exactly where you end up, but you will end up where you're meant to be at the right time. And there's no right or wrong decision. Every choice that I made in hindsight, I have learned something about myself, who I am, what I like, what I don't like. Sometimes I worked in a place, turns out I don't like that so much. And so I still learned something about myself and what I wanted for my life. I think that's how it's impacted my perspective on life.
I think that's really beautiful. And honestly, when you get to the end of the road, looking back on all of the experiences you've had, think of all the stories now that you can share that so many people either can really relate to or could find so fascinating. I think that's fantastic. And so, right now, you're an astrophysicist with the Canadian Space Agency. That is so cool. I've never met anyone in this industry, so I'm so excited that you're here to talk with us a little bit about it. So, my first question to you then is, where did your passion for space arise?
That's a great question. Where did my passion for space come from? When I was little, I remember loving to solve problems. I was curious and I really leaned into that. Most of my days, when I had nothing to do on the weekends, I would just go lie down on the grass outside and just stare at the sky all day, like just staring out into space, whether it be night or day, staring into the blue of sky or the darkness of the sky and thinking, how far am I actually looking? Like, is it this far? No, no, it keeps going. Oh, no, is it this far? Where does it go? That really felt humbling to me. And it was this problem that I could never solve. It really inspired me. And then when I got to university, my parents were like, science, science, science. And so I was already kind of set on science, but what science I didn't know. I guess my father might have hoped that I would become an engineer because he's an engineer. But then when I got to UVic, I tried all the sciences. I tried physics, I tried astronomy, I tried chemistry, I tried biology, I tried a little bit of engineering. So I tried a little bit of everything. And then every science that I tried, it became clear very quickly. Biology was not for me. And then chemistry was not for me. And then when I hit physics and astronomy, everything just fell into place. It felt like home. It felt like finally I was understood. My way of thinking, my problem solving skills were exactly where they belong. I felt like people had the same thought process as I did. So it was easy to communicate with other people. And so I stuck with physics and astronomy. That's where my love ended up being.
Oh, that's so beautiful. I love the way you talk about finding this field as a feeling of home. And it sounds like you're a real problem solver. I wonder if you can tell me one of your favorite projects or problems. Maybe tell me about something you're really proud of that you've worked on, or something really challenging, even.
I would say quantum mechanics. That was something else. It was a nightmare. I was good in physics, but that course alone, I had to take 3 times. So, yeah. From you, what I'm very proud of is never having given up, even though I failed it twice. It's like, no, I am passing this course. And I passed it. The problems were just so complex. I think that's one of the things that I'm most proud of in terms of complex problem solving, just never having given up. And I'm also really proud of having been given the opportunity to be deputy mission manager for the James Webb Space Telescope. That really was one of the pinnacles of my career. I got to work with NASA and ESA, the European Space Agency. I got to work with other government departments like the National Research Council.
Wow.
I got to meet some of the people that actually built the hardware that was created in Canada, the fine guidance sensor, the near infrared imager and slitless spectrograph, and manage those contracts. And I get to meet them and talk to them. I put in place one of the first grant opportunities for the James Webb Space Telescope observations. So when Canadian researchers got observation time on the James Webb Space Telescope and they needed money to do that research, I was with my colleague at the Canadian Space Agency writing the actual grant opportunity and evaluating the proposals and writing up the grant agreements. And so I got to see all the very first ideas of the projects that were selected to be part of that whole process. And there was a lot of different things to do. I got there right before crunch time, before launch, and during launch, during the commissioning, and just after launch. I was really there near the big moment. And I found that challenging, and it was really empowering to work on that.
That sounds so incredible. It sounds so cool. Okay, so not only did you do that incredible, cool work, you also are a champion for supporting women in STEM. You develop opportunities for women to access careers in science here in Canada and internationally. Why is making space for inclusion and diversity in this field important to you?
Because we're at the pinnacle of innovation and we're solving really complex problems that mankind has never solved before. And this is my belief. If you have people that all think the same way or all have the same background, then it gives you one kind of result. I have a colleague that's a philosopher. I have a colleague that's a kinesiologist. And I have a colleague that has a finance background working in the health field. And I have a colleague that's a geologist. And I have other colleagues that did politics and others that did communications. And so having all of those different backgrounds and ways of thinking together really helps us find solutions to different challenges that we may face in space. I gave potential academic backgrounds, but it could also be just a personal background, your family or the skill sets that you developed growing up. Like maybe you're very good at problem solving, or maybe you're very good at talking to people, or maybe you're very good at collaborating and bringing people together. Maybe you're good at mobilizing people. So it's not just about your academic background, it's also about who you are as a person, which is why it's very important to be who you are.
I think that's great. Yeah, I can imagine it would really help to have so many different minds that work in different ways to then combat these challenges or problems that you're working on. That's amazing. And obviously, Julie, you do it all. We know from the intro, you do so many things, you wear so many hats, you have so many different affinities and talents. And I got to ask you, how do you manage your work life balance? How do you get those fun things that fuel you along with the fun things you're doing at work? How do you balance those?
It's very difficult, to be honest. I think it's important to know what your priorities are and have those set in stone and don't let them go. Like for me, my priority is always my children. And having that clear right off the bat for myself makes things a lot easier. I'm very fortunate to have colleagues that are very supportive and understanding and are flexible. If you're working right now or you're planning on working soon, keep that in mind. What you can do to help other people and your colleagues will go a long way to making it easier for everybody to balance things. For example, sometimes I'll do a little bit of work at night if I have to leave a little bit early. Right now, I'm a single mom. I find a lot of joy with my children. We're kind of a little clan and we help each other. I'm very grateful for my children. I do play World of Warcraft once in a while. In the summer, I do a lot of gardening. Most of the stuff I'll do with my children. In terms of violin, like I do play my violin still, but all of my kids also play violin. So most of my time playing violin is to show them their pieces. So I guess that's how I balance it all. I have my colleagues and my peers that are very supportive, and I do my share as well to help them when they need help. And I integrate my children in everything that I do.
Oh, that's amazing. You know what? I'm just imagining your whole family being your own orchestra together. That is so fun. And I'm glad that you're able to find time for those things and to pass them along to your children. I'm sure you're a very inspiring person to have as a mom. I bet you there's some listeners in our audience who would really love to follow a similar trajectory or maybe end up where you are. I'm wondering if you could give a little word of advice to students who are passionate about a career in science and maybe what helped you to get to where you are today and what could help them achieve the same goals.
The first thing I'm going to say is dream big, dream very big.
As big as space.
Do you understand? Exactly. Surround yourself with people who believe in you and will empower you no matter what. And the next one is take any opportunity, no matter how small it is. Get involved because you never know what you're going to learn about yourself or about different skills that you're going to need. For example, if you see there's a conference or a webinar, go to the webinar, go to the conference, go talk to people. If there's NASA space apps or there's hackathons, go to a hackathon. If there's a space rocket building team with the engineering department, go and get involved. If you get offered an opportunity to mow somebody's lawn, go and mow someone's lawn. Who knows? The person whose lawn you're mowing might be somebody whose work you're very interested in. For example, when I got the job as a deputy mission manager for the James Webb Space Telescope, I had volunteered to be a mentor and a judge for NASA space apps. And while I was there, I met another colleague from the Canadian Space Agency whom I had never met before. And we introduced ourselves to each other. And he said he worked for the astronomy team. And I say, oh, I love astronomy. Like, that's my background, physics and astronomy. I'd love to work in physics and astronomy. This is great. And so we just talked. And I guess he remembered my background. 2 years later, his manager, whom I assume he had spoken about me to him, his manager met me in the hallway. He said, hey, you're Julie, right? My colleague told me about you. He's like, we need some help on the James Webb Space Telescope. Would you be interested? And had I never volunteered for that NASA space apps 2 years prior, that opportunity may never have happened. So put yourself out there, take every opportunity you can get your hands on, even if it seems really insignificant. Talk to people, surround yourself with people who are going to empower you, dream big, and believe in yourself.
Oh, I love it. I love it. I love it. That's wonderful advice. I bet you there's a lot of listeners, me included, who are really good at talking themselves out of going to the conference or doing that thing because maybe we don't love socializing or we're nervous because we're not sure if we fit in or we belong there, or we're smart enough to be there. Do it scared. Go anyway if you can. Julie, what do you think about that?
The imposter syndrome is real, okay?
Yes.
Everybody has that. I'm not good enough. Oh, what am I going to say? You know what? I have the imposter syndrome. Everywhere I go, every meeting, I'm like, oh, what are they going to think about me? Oh, I'm not dressed properly. Or, oh my God, did I really say that? Or like, oh no, I'm going to be talking to these people. They're like so high up. Oh my God, it's the president. I'm always scared. Exactly what you said. Do it and do it scared.
It's hard to imagine all the amazing things you do and you still have the imposter syndrome. It doesn't go away, does it? You just have to keep fighting through it.
For some people, it might go away. For me, it didn't.
Well, I am so glad that you continued to show up. Now you can be an inspiration to the rest of us to get out there and do the thing that we've been putting off doing because we're nervous about it. So thank you for that advice. And at this point, I got to bring us all the way back to the beginning about your time at UVic. How did it inspire where you ended up today?
I'm going to go back to that feeling of home and being with the people in the physics and astronomy department. When I would talk to them about my ideas or when I had problems finding solutions to homework assignments and just the whole way of thinking, and that feeling of home really stuck. And so whenever I didn't feel like that, I knew something was off. And so I'm always looking for that feeling of home. And that's one of the things that I learned at UVic. I also learned to be open-minded and collaborative and to welcome anybody else's solutions or ideas. And that's something big that I learned within the physics and astronomy department. Even if my idea was completely wrong, it was always welcome. Nobody told me I was wrong. They just asked me questions to kind of guide me towards the solution in a very kind and patient, respectful way. And so that whole collaborative and respectful and helpful dynamic is something that I keep with me all the time. And I try to reciprocate that whenever I can. Another thing that really inspired me is just all the nature around the campus. When I was there was little bunnies everywhere at this time of year. I went back recently and the trees got so big. I was just like, wow. And it just gives this immense sense of peace, you know? And so for me, it's a very grounding experience that I keep from UVic, and also all of the different activities around campus. Like I remember the engineering department would push a little car around Ring Road.
Yes.
I don't know if they still do that, but everybody would go around and start pushing with the engineers. And there's just so much stuff going on and so many things to get involved in at clubs. And that's one of the things I love, which I still do to this day because UVic inspired me to do that.
Oh, I think that's amazing. And before we leave this segment of the show, is there anything else that we haven't touched on that you'd really like to share with us?
Maybe two things. Don't underestimate who you are because you're unique and you're special, and the world needs your special mojo.
I love that.
The other one is don't over glamorize somebody else's experience just because of how they present it, because it might not be what you think. For example, my current work most of the time is sitting in my basement, staring at my computer screen, reading emails and writing documents. But you look at my LinkedIn, it looks really cool, you know? And I have had some opportunities, obviously, where I've been to really big international conferences, or I've seen opening events like in the Canadian Space Agency Conference Center where astronauts were live, like sitting there right there in front of me. So there have been some really cool moments in my career, but my day-to-day life is just like anybody else's day-to-day life. And the glamour comes from what you make of it.
I love that advice. We could all take that to heart no matter what field we're in. All right, Julie, we're going to move over to our rapid fire portion of our episode. And the rapid fire is really fun because I'm going to ask you a series of questions and I don't want you to even think. I just want you to say the first thing that pops into your head. We're just going to jump in. Are you ready?
Yes.
Okay. So, what was your favorite class at UVic?
My favorite class was actually classical mechanics with Michel Lefebvre. He's just so enthusiastic and passionate about everything. And he makes it fun just by looking at him talk about physics. And he will always have these really interesting things to try out, like a wheel where we could stand on it and move around, or he'd teach torque by us pushing on doors. And anyway, so he always made it very interactive, and his whole personality is just amazing.
Oh, that sounds awesome. Do you have a study beverage of choice?
Coffee.
Nice.
Every day.
Are you a sweet coffee, just a drip coffee, a double-double? What kind of coffee is your go-to?
I make it at home and just regular coffee with 1 spoon of sugar.
Lovely. Okay, what was your favorite building to spend time in on campus?
The library. At the Elliott building on the 4th floor. I don't know if the couches are still there, but they used to be couches. So that was my hanging spot.
Oh, nice. If you could do everything all over again, would you? And what would you do more of?
I would. I would do it all over again. And what would I do more of? Physics and math. And honestly, even now to this day, when I'm bored, what do I lean to? Physics and math. It's so fun. Yeah. You sit there and you look at an equation and you're like, yep, no idea how to do this. Got to find a way to do it. Just having that seemingly unsolvable problem and then solving the problem, it's just so fun. It's so fun. That's why I want to go back and do my master's and my PhD. And I'm still thinking about it. So more physics.
Yes, I feel like you never hear anyone say that. So it's really inspiring to hear someone actually come at math and physics with such fervor and excitement. And I hope that you do go back for your master's, your PhD. And I can already guess, but what would you choose to do your master's in if you could right now?
I want to do it in galaxy formation, but theoretical. So simulations of how galaxies form. It's just so exciting, that unknown and the constant wanting to do more. It would definitely be theoretical galaxy formation and more specifically numerical simulations.
That sounds unbelievably cool. And I can't guarantee I will understand a single word of it, but I will definitely read your thesis when it comes out. Well, Julie, thank you. You are an absolute inspiration. You've been such a joy to have on the show today. Thank you for sharing all of your experiences, your wisdom, your knowledge, your excitement for all that you do. You've been a wonderful guest. Thank you so much.
It's been a pleasure, Emma. Thank you.
Work It is developed and distributed by Co-op and Career Services at the University of Victoria. It is hosted by Emma Ovlin and produced by Joy Poliquin. Our theme music and art were created by Emma Oldland with audio editing by Emma Oldland. To learn more about career possibilities and resources from UVic, visit uvic.ca/career-services. And don't forget to give us a follow wherever you listen to podcasts. Today's guest was physics and astronomy graduate Julie Claveau.